Hello everyone! So I'm still on my big old watercolor kick. So for today's card I took a piece of watercolor paper and I cut it to 8.5 by 5.5 inches and then I scored it at 4.25 to make a whole card out of watercolor paper. And then I am taping it down to, this is masonite board, I think that's how you pronounce it. I got it from an art supply store. It's really cheap. It's usually less than $1 for a size like this, which is like 12-ish inches or something like that. I think Michael's carries them. I don't know. I got mine online, but it's a bit bigger than my little cutting board. And because I want to stamp directly on this plus watercolor, this just works really well. You could also just tape your card down just to your desk, but because I like to move everything around and see what I'm doing and that kind of thing, it's nice to have it on a board like this. So if you have a large cutting board that's really flat, that'll work too. So once I've got it all taped down really well, I'm inking up again this Stamping Bella Flower Garden stamp because I'm kind of just obsessed with it, and I've had everything sitting out and I've just been playing. So I've inked up the stamp with my Hero Arts black ink, and then I'm just stamping it across the card. So not worried about the parts that get on the tape or anything else because it dries permanent, so it doesn't smear or anything, and it's marked up the board too, but that just doesn't matter. And then for this card and watercoloring, I am using my Inktense pencils, which I haven't used very often. I still need some practice. I have some pros and cons with them, like I like them, but I just need to practice with them some more. So all I'm doing is going in and coloring all the flowers first, using a variety of pencils. I'm using a golden yellow, cadmium yellow, burnt orange, and some scarlet pink, and I'm adding all the color at once. Just kind of random here and there, not doing them all the exact same, and also trying not to press too deeply onto the cardstock here so you're not going to leave, etch marks from pressing too hard, and then just adding water. And the one thing I do really like about the Inktense pencils is once this dries, it's permanent. So I like that aspect because then you can go in, add your other layers, add your backgrounds, this, that, and the other thing, and it's not going to reactivate if the water touches. You're not going to muddy up your colors. So they're really cool, but I just need to play with them some more. So once I was kind of happy with the flowers, I got those completely dry, and then I went on to do the stems and the leaves. And for that one, I used a felt green and beach green. And as always, I'll have a picture at the end, like listing all the colors so that people know. And got those completely dry, and then now I can go in and do the background, and which for that one I use sea blue and green aquamarine. And that's where I really like the Inktense pencils, because adding the background can be the most finicky part because you want to get it all around the images without any space, but you don't want to reactivate the previous watercolor. And with this I didn't have to worry about it, so I could be a little bit freer with it. I added a lot more water than I tend to do because, again, I'm still practicing. And I have a hard time adding too much water just because it can get messy and that bothers me. So I kind of went in, scribbled on some color, added it, and then I'd go back in, add some more color. And then at this point I was actually just picking the color up right off the tip of the pencil with my paintbrush, which I like even more. So someone else had mentioned how much I would probably like the Inktense come in like color sticks, not just pencils. And they mentioned how much I'd probably like those. And I probably will get them eventually. But I'm definitely going to keep playing around with these Inktense pencils. I like them. I just feel like I need more practice. So once I'm done all of this watercoloring, it's time to peel off the tape, which is always my favorite part. Especially when you've stamped over it like this and everything's so messy around it, and then you peel it off and you've got this really nice border and everything's all clean. So very carefully peel off all this tape, and then I'm left with an entire card that is done. So that's also where taping it down and keeping it as flat as possible really helps so that your whole card base isn't completely warped. And this made a big difference. Like, it hardly warped at all. So got that all peeled off, and then I just used an eraser in the bottom corner there where I had peeled up a tiny bit of the cardstock. So erase that off just to smooth it out, and then of course I have to finish off the inside. So I decided not to use a sentiment or anything on the outside, just to leave it as the watercolor. But on the inside, I grabbed the stamp again, and I'm using my Memento ink. So I'm using Dandelion, Tangelo, and Potter's Clay. So a yellow, an orange, and like a burnt orange, basically. And I added yellow, and then I just dabbed the orange on, and then I'm just dabbing the burnt orange on here and there. And then I just took my mini mister and did this off camera so that I don't get water on my camera. But I just misted it like 2 or 3 times. and then stamp it right there on the watercolor paper. And this is something you could do for like an actual card, not just on the inside. But yeah, it just kind of gives it this cool look, and the colors kind of match. I was in a mood to do, yeah, more oranges and yellows today, since I tend to go for like the pinks and purples. So yeah, always trying to step out of the box. But once that was done, I grabbed another sentiment from my Great Greeting set, and using my stamp positioner and the black ink, I'm going to get that positioned up there and get it stamped, and that's all there was to it. So as always, there'll be a link below to my blog post with a link to all the supplies used. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye!